The new Fallout TV show is based in the California LA region. The once great nation of the new California Republic, or NCR, has completely collapsed, making California now comprised of many factions, including the Brotherhood of Steel, fighting to fill the power void. This leaves us to wonder about all the details that happened between Fallout New Vegas and the current timeline in the TV show. And a lot has changed in the 15 years since Fallout New Vegas, which is set in the year 2281. The TV show current year takes place in the year 2296. I believe that the current state of the Fallout world on the West Coast is because Mr. House winning at the end of the Fallout New Vegas video game is the canon storyline of the TV show. To explain this, we need to fill in a bit of context. Before the Great War of 2077, Mojave was on the verge of creating cold fusion, a way to create limitless power and defuse the resource wars between the USA and China. However, Vault-Tec bought her company and shelved the project. This technology is later seen with Wilzig at the Enclave. As well, it is a Vault-Tec overseer, Hank McLean, that knows the code to activate it. This would mean that there was some type of coordination between the United States government, now known as the Enclave, and Vault-Tec. This is further supported by the fact that the US president had future knowledge of the war even though Vault-Tec was the one that started it. Perhaps this mystery man seen towards the end of the show is in the mix of it as well. There is a lot that we don't know about who is actually behind everything. However, the show is tying Vault-Tec and the US government together in some type of a conspiracy much more than the games ever did. Vault-Tec and their cabal of corporations profited greatly from selling the end of the world, and they couldn't allow anything that would affect their bottom line. The United States had essentially fallen into full crony capitalism, with Vault-Tec at the center of all of it, using fear of the end of the world to sustain their power and profit margins. That is why they buried the cold fusion technology, because it was a threat to them. However, the longer time went without a nuclear war happening, Vault-Tec began to see a drop in their profits. This is where the plan is hatched to start the nuclear war themselves. The motivation of Vault-Tec to start the war is to eliminate their competition and have complete control over the surface after everything dies out. Overnight, Vault-Tec investments would be the only thing that is worth anything in the wasteland. Having control of all the markets, governments, and people to form the world as they want to. And they even believe that in a twisted way, this is them bringing peace to the world. We do know that the Enclave wants to destroy everything in the wasteland because they believe they are all inferior. This is a major plot in the video games, so there may be some coordination between Vault-Tec and the Enclave in regards to this. However, this has not been completely revealed, and I'm sure we will learn more about their relationship in future seasons. This is the backdrop that leads us to Mr. House. The same Mr. House from the games is present at the meeting of corporations. This is a bit of a retcon. In the game, he clearly states he predicted the war through calculations and not from being a part of the planning.
By 2065, I deemed it a mathematical certainty that an unjustified war would devastate the Earth within 15 years. Every projection I ran confirmed it. I knew I couldn't save the world, nor did I care to, but I could save Vegas, and in the process, perhaps save mankind.
But either way, he would have prepared Las Vegas for the nuclear war, and things probably would have played out very similar to the way they did in the video game New Vegas. He has an army of robots that he uses to run New Vegas, and he tries to make it the center of wealth in the Mojave Desert. During the events of the Fallout New Vegas video game, there are three major factions fighting for power in the Mojave Desert, specifically around Las Vegas and the Hoover Dam. They are the NCR, Mr. House and his army of robots, and Caesar's Legion. The NCR is an old world style government that is probably the most stable and peaceful place in the entire wasteland. Caesar's Legion is a brutal war empire that bases their aesthetics off of the Roman Empire. Furthermore, they absolutely despise robots and believe that only the strongest should survive. Mr. House really just cares about the Las Vegas area area and just wants control over it and to generate as much wealth for himself as possible. He isn't really necessarily good or bad, but more represents the cold-hearted corporation. All three of them have endings where they win the conflict and gain control over the Mojave Desert, Las Vegas, and the Hoover Dam. But I believe that according to the Fallout TV show, there are many clues pointing to the fact that Mr. House is the canon winner of this conflict and currently has major control over the Mojave Desert. The complete collapse of the NCR between the video game and the TV show is a huge sign of them not winning the conflict around New Vegas, because losing the conflict would have put them in a weakened position and been the first domino of their downfall.
No need to worry about the General, by the way. He'll be held responsible, publicly disgraced. 36.5% probability of suicide, by my estimate. Kimball won't be able to save him. He'll be too busy getting thrown out of office. But less than a 3% chance of suicide, mind you.
Because they were in a weakened state already, the destruction of Shady Sands, their capital city, essentially pushed them over the edge. Hank McLean, of course, was behind this, as stated in the TV show. He is playing out Vault-Tec's strategy of destroying any competition so only they and their allies can be in control. As a side note, there are a few things about the fall of the NCR that are a bit fuzzy. For example, why was the Brotherhood of Steel at the location after Shady Sands was destroyed? Considering they were an enemy of the NCR, they had literally zero presence in NCR territory. Also, the NCR has a vast territory and a population of about 1 million people. They are the largest faction in the entire USA wasteland, and they are one of the most prosperous, free, and stable factions in the Fallout universe. This is the reason Hank's wife Rose wanted to live here with her kids. So this kind of contradicts the idea that they were on the verge of collapse and just needed a single terror attack to push them over the edge. So is it possible that the destruction of their capital would cause a complete collapse of the entire country? This doesn't make complete sense to me, and I feel like there's more to the story of their downfall, so hopefully we get filled in on this in later seasons. But either way, all signs point to the fact that they must have lost the battle over the Mojave Desert. On another point, if Caesar's Legion had somehow won the war in Las Vegas, they would have destroyed anything associated with House and New Las Vegas. Las Vegas represents everything that they hate and despise. So the fact that New Las Vegas is still standing and shown at the end of the show means that they must have not conquered the area. Plus, Mr. House being around is the only reason that Hank McLean would go to this area in the first place. He would probably still see Mr. House as an ally even hundreds of years later.
Mr. House's Securitron army took control of Hoover Dam and the Strip, pushing both the Legion and the exhausted NCR out of New Vegas.
Is House an individual entity just working for himself as shown in the video game, or is he a part of something much larger as shown in the TV show? We will just have to wait until later seasons to see how they play him out. He will probably be somewhere in the middle if I have to guess. But either way, I think it is pretty clear that he is the canon winner of Fallout New Vegas. But we will just have to wait until season 2 to see if they confirm this or not. Thanks a lot and have a wonderful day.
Vegas might see a dip in revenue for a few months, half a year, but soon enough the tourists and their money will be pouring in. Vegas will be a shining jewel in the middle of the desert, an oasis of light, a beacon to show mankind the way to the stars. This is just the start, you see. This is where it all begins.